Well, you better watch out, you better not cry, you better not tweet, I'm telling you why. NSA is coming to town. They'll know when you are sleeping, they'll know when you're awake. They'll know when you're in the bathroom or when you're baking a cake. You better not cry, you better not frown, you better not shout, I'm telling you why the NSA is spying on you. I'm just playing. My name is Lbtharealist. This is Surrealistic Studios, where I bring you the news, politics, current events, science, anything that's popping, and what I want to talk about. So right now, what I want to talk about is the House voting to allow the NSA to keep spying on us. So most people know, for the most part, that our government is rigged, and they spy on us through our cell phones or our laptops or whatever you have it, whatever electronics we have, they can use to spy on us. We know they have they have the technology, so they can do it. So I'm just gonna read a little bit of this article here. This is from Vox, and they're gonna explain a little bit about exactly what's going on here. So, a debate over a controversial law that gives the government broad powers to spy on foreigners purposefully. They're coming for me. So, a debate over a controversial law that gives the government broad powers to spy on foreigners purposefully and Americans incidentally briefly rocked both the White House and Capitol Hill on Thursday after a disruptive tweet by President Donald Trump. A section of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, or FISA, Section 702, allows U.S. intelligence agencies to collect the email communications of foreigners living abroad in order to obtain information about potential threats against the United States. But sometimes the intelligence agencies sweep up emails sent by or to Americans, and that worries citizens and policymakers alike who care about their privacy. So they're using this excuse, oh, we're collecting emails and information on people abroad that may intend to do harm to people in the United States. But sometimes when they get, or more often than not, when they receive that information on those people abroad, they receive information on regular citizens in the United States. And this is just an excuse for them to use to get your information. So this is just what they're saying. And then they go into Donald Trump's tweets here. I'm not going to get into all of that. I hate talking about that guy. Let's see. Thursday's drama is just the latest moment in the years-long controversy over the U.S. government's ability to collect, store, and even read the emails involving American citizens and residents because of FISA Section 702. Here's a brief guide on what Section 702 lets America's intelligence agencies do and why it's long been a sensitive issue for Americans in and out of government. Section 702 targets foreigners' emails, but there's a catch. Section 702 doesn't allow intentional surveillance targeting of Americans, rather targeting of accounts whose owners are reasonably believed to be foreigners outside of the United States, Michael Hayden, a former director of the CIA and NSA, told me. The law is intended to collect information that could potentially stop terrorist attacks by foreigners against the United States, but sometimes the spying programs scoop up Americans' emails and information along with it. Most of the world's internet traffic passes through the portals inside the United States, said Todd Rosenblum, a top intelligence official at the Department of Homeland Security from 2009 to 2011. Wow, most of the world's internet traffic passes through the portals inside the United States. Because of that, it's difficult not to unintentionally collect information from or about U.S. citizens and residents. Critics believe that violates Americans' Fourth Amendment right against unreasonable searches and seizures. The FISA court is supposed to be the legal check on the government's surveillance powers, made up of 11 judges, but the court is who ultimately decides whether or not intelligence officials can look at email content or other data as part of a national security investigation. Proponents argue that this court serves as a sufficient check on the government's powers. Proponents argue that this court serves as a sufficient check on the government's powers. Critics, on the other hand, say the court provides nothing more than a rubber stamp for whatever the intelligence agencies ask for. The debate over the FISA court is just one of the many controversies surrounding Section 702. At the score, the question is whether the government should prioritize the security of the American people or their privacy. The privacy versus security battle continues. Representative Zoe Lofgren, a Democrat in California, co-sponsored the failed amendment to add new safeguards to Section 702, along with Representative Justin Amash, Republican in... I'm sorry. What's MI? Somebody please help me out. What state is MI? Jesus, what state is MI? Missouri? I'm not even sure. I think that's Missouri. Somebody tell me in the comment section. I feel dumb right now. Because of the architecture of the internet, we are collecting vast amounts of data, Lofgren told me. Your phone calls, your emails, your text messages, and video messages. And under Section 702, you can search that for Americans and crimes that have nothing to do with terrorism. Privacy advocates also point to the potential for the law to be abused. Section 702 could easily be a tool to target government critics, immigrants, and vulnerable communities, said Nima Singh Giuliani, legislative director at the American Civil Liberties Union, or the ACLU. Such cases have happened in May 2015. For instance, FBI agents arrested a man named Xiaoxing Shi, a Chinese-American physics professor at Temple University. The government claimed he was a Chinese spy after looking at his communications with the FISA court's approval. The government dropped the charges 4 months later because it appeared he was merely contacting colleagues in China. Chi is now working with the ACLU to sue for damages. Hayden and many others in the intelligence community have a different view of Section 702. On October 23rd, Hayden and 15 other national security professionals, including former CIA Director John Brennan and former Director of National Intelligence James Clapper, signed a letter to congressional leaders urging them to reauthorize the email collection provision. There is no substitute for Section 702, they wrote. It is the most effective mechanism to protect the U.S. from the very large number of real threats that use American email and internet services. The debate over Section 2 now moves to the Senate, where it will likely not spark the same level of controversy as it did in the House vote on Thursday. So far, senators from both parties have signaled they will reauthorize Section 702 without any additional reforms to ensure greater privacy. But the wider debate about striking the right balance between citizen privacy and security is sure to continue. And that is absolutely correct, because I'm going to show you guys some statistics really quick. Because I get tired of reading these damn articles like this. But these statistics are telling, because we're kind of split on this issue. What Americans think about the NSA, surveillance, national security, and privacy. This is from pewresearch.org. This was actually on May 29th of 2015. This is the most up-to-date I could find just by doing a quick little Google search here. So let's see, and I'll leave this in the description so you guys can check it out for yourself. But just to go over it quickly, a majority of Americans, 54%, disapprove of the U.S. government's collection of telephone and internet data as part of the anti-terrorism efforts, while 42% approve of the program. Democrats are divided on the program, while Republicans and independents are more likely to disapprove than approve. So about 54% of Americans disapprove. That's back in 2015. That's barely a majority. Barely a majority. Let's see. More broadly, most Americans don't see a need to sacrifice civil liberties to be safe from terrorism. In spring 2014, 74% said they should not give up privacy and freedom for the sake of safety, while just 22% said the opposite. This view had hardened since December 2004, when 60% said they should not have to give up more privacy and freedom to be safe from terrorism. Wow. Let's see. Most Americans have heard about the U.S. government surveillance programs, and some have changed their behavior because of it. Fully 87% are aware of the federal surveillance programs. Among those aware of the programs, 25% to 22% of adults overall say they have changed the way they use technology, at least somewhat, after the Snowden revelations, according to our November 2014 through January 2015 survey. Additionally, 61% of those aware of the programs say they have become less confident that the programs are serving the public interest. And the view from abroad is mostly one of disapproval. In most countries we surveyed in 2014, majorities oppose U.S. government's monitoring of emails and phone calls of foreign leaders or their citizens, and a median of 62% in 43 countries also oppose U.S. monitoring of American citizens. In contrast, Americans tilt toward the view that eavesdropping on foreign leaders is an acceptable practice, though they are divided over using this technique on average people in other countries. But 6 in 10 Americans, or 61%, also oppose the government monitoring communications of U.S. citizens. And they give a chart here for world opposed to NSA actions, but U.S. still popular. This is from Pew Research Center. Again, I didn't want to make this video too long, but this information, these statistics are very telling because it shows that we as Americans are kind of backwards as hell. Like, half of us want the government to be able to spy on us. Half of us, about half of us, like it's 54% are against it. Just 54%. Well, that was, to be fair, this was back in 2015. So I don't know what the updated numbers are. It's 2018 now. This is 3 years later we're talking. I don't know. But like the other article said, this debate is sure to continue. So if I left out any information, please let me know. If I misinterpreted anything, please let me know. Like I said, I'm just now learning about this myself. But this is crazy. This is crazy, y'all. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Like this video if you like, share, subscribe, all that jazz. Follow me on all social media. Follow me on Twitter. And love, peace, chicken grease. I'll see you guys on the next one, all right? Be good.